How can a brand develop new and fresh animations using pre-existing assets? We did that for one of Google's products, and we showed how it went. I'm Raff, and Felippe is here with me today. We are the founders of Mode, an animation and motion graphics studio focused on bringing ideas to life through animations made with purpose. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications if you want to stay on top of more insights around animation.
Imagine a brand started to run an awareness campaign and noticed an opportunity to take it further. That's why the Apigee team at Google approached us to turn the pre-existing campaign assets into animation.
Does your business deliver a connected customer experience? What does that even mean? For too many businesses, building a connected experience means delivering a checklist of digital assets to their customers.
So one of the biggest challenges here was how we could create approximately 3-minute video in just 3 weeks. So yeah, it's a hell of a challenge. We had some previous assets that Google's Apigee team, they built for an ebook, so other materials they were creating. So we have these starting points of how we can use part of those assets to create the animation in just this short time frame. Usually it works the other way around. So we develop the animation and we expand those assets into other formats and other piece of content. But in this case, they already have some things that worked before, and we had to use those and prepare the animation based on those to leverage the previous content and also make sure we could match this deadline.
During those 3 weeks for production, we had 3 challenges. One of them was the script. They had a script, but the script has some flaws, and also it has some opportunities that we noticed when we were doing the storyboard, the things that we could change that could improve not only the flow of the animation, but also improve the usage of the assets that we already had. Another challenge that we had was that anything that we created for this video had to talk exactly the same language, the same visual language as the assets that were created for the ebook campaign. So it was not only about using Google's power, it was about understanding exactly how to use the granular effect to make some shadows. So we had to open the files, make sure that everybody that was working this production knew exactly the configuration for each one of the things. So we at the end of the day, we had everything with the exact same look and feel. Because even though Google has the same colors on all the videos, the way that they use and some of the stylization, they change from video to video. So we had to make sure that everything was aligned in that way. And I think that the biggest challenge that we had was actually the storyboard and the story, because since we didn't have time, what we had to do was also reverse the project. So we create things on the storyboard from the ground. And here we had existing scenes that we had to kind of do the other way around. We would read the sentence on the script and try to understand which one of the images we could show that could be used as a metaphor for what was being said. So you can imagine almost like you have a blank canvas full of squares that could be the storyboard. Then we had to kind of grab the final images and put them and try to understand how we could use almost all the illustrations that we had available, and then understand how we could fill the blanks. So it's almost like we had a puzzle with missing pieces. So we had to put all the puzzles together and then understand how to deal with the remaining scenes.
But another aspect of this was, in this short period, how much of animation could be done within that time. So part of this process was animating as some new illustrations were still being development, but also thinking on those initial illustrations, they were thought of as individual pieces and assets, and how we could connect them with animation and how much animation was necessary to make sure we had a nice flow between the context, between the script and what's being said and what's being shown, but also make sure we have enough animation to convey the story in a way that is exciting, that is interesting, and not looking simply as a slideshow of illustrations. So it was a big challenge there. We had some characters, and for those characters, we know it takes a long time to animate characters, but we found ways that we could give small movements and bring those characters to life and still be useful within the short time frame, and making sure like we are taking the most out of those illustrations and preview assets we had to deal with.
What I think that allowed us to do everything within such a short time frame was that we knew exactly what we were doing and what we were dealing with. And this was really important because the client trusted us. So when they came with the challenge and asked, like, can you deliver this? We said, like, okay, let me see the assets. Let me see what you have. Let me see the script. Let me see kind of the overall picture. And then we built a plan. Like we said, oh, look, I think that we can do this. If we make some changes, if we make this and that. And I think that this was essential for us to, like, we're able to cut some steps of the process. We're also able to talk to them and say, like, when we're doing the storyboard, we noticed that we might need to change some things in the script. So we asked for them in advance, like, could you please gather everybody that needs to review the script because we might need a few changes. And we're able to do that really fast, even though we were within completely different time zones. So everything was about understanding the challenge and adapting the workflow and not following just with the basic day-to-day they're used to doing. Sometimes projects, they need specific workflows and specific solutions. And I'm happy that we were able to do it all and deliver a great project at the end. What's your team solution when you need to expand an existing campaign? Tell us more about it in the comments. And if you want to learn more about Make Smart Animations, follow us, turn on the notifications, and we'll see you in the next video.